Hi there, beautiful souls, and welcome. Welcome back, or welcome to The Hawk and I. My name is Lana Zelinsky, and I work in the spirit dimensions. As always, in all my videos or live feeds, simply take what resonates, and you're welcome to leave the rest right here. Happy Monday energy update for the week of March 16th. Wow, time is just ticking on by. I'm grateful to have some spring-like weather here. It's a glorious, fresh change to be able to not bundle up so much. Let's dive into the energy for the week. All right, here we go. When I sat in meditation, I felt a lot of things firing up, like that. I could feel the heat. I could feel the fire energy, and then I was lovingly reminded that we are coming into the March equinox. So here we go. Here we go. With this fire energy, I feel like a lot of realizations are coming in, a lot of clarity is coming in, a lot of receiving of information. Your passions are warming up. There's like the support in this fire energy that's coming in this week, and I think it'll be here for the remainder of the month. Oh, I've got some fog on my glasses. Maybe I'm feeling a little hot from all that talk of the fire energy. A little bit of fog on my glasses there. Isn't that funny? Um, I also got a reminder when fire comes in, warmth brings in. Fire isn't necessarily burning things down. Fire can also help us see. And when leaned into that, I just seen all this clarity energy coming in. So if you've been looking for clarity, or if you've been having a lot of questions or what to do or direction, I feel like this fire, this heat that's coming in, is showing us the way. So if you have been looking, if you have been seeking or looking for the clarity, this is a really good time to start asking, show me, help me, tapping into to that light that's igniting around us. Realizations, moving and shaking energy, things are going to be shaken up, especially this week. So just kind of remember that I said it. There's a shaking up of energy, and I really feel things are going to be moving. Now, when we see things, remember it's not always what we want to see. And spirit has said to me, quite frequently, got my hair, I'm a hot mess this morning. Spirit has said to me quite frequently, you ask to see it. You may not always like what you see, but you need to see it. And so that is coming in as well. So sometimes remember we don't always like what we see, but we're being shown for a reason. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind because I felt a lot of realization energy coming in along with that. Just realizing, you know what, I don't want that anymore. Or just realizing that I think it's time for me to take a step forward, or realizing that, it's time for directions, new directions to come in. The realization energy is going to be pushing through, but it felt and it feels very, very supportive. Supportive energy, warming up to things. It can be warming up to new ideas, warming up to new directions. The fire is bringing us a warmth and a push and a lot of insight, a lot of clarity, not to burn things down, but to get us heated up and get that excitement back. If you've been lacking the feeling of excitement or motivation, and you've been honoring that, that's going to be shifting for you because this warm up energy of getting things started is poking its head out. Do what feels right for you. I also felt that the overload seems to be softening. Many of us have felt overloaded lately, whether it be just overloaded in your personal life or you feeling the world on an overload right now. The overload seems to be kind of like dropping a little bit. Just dropping a little bit. The other shift that I felt that, and I think this is just the start of a shift, is I really felt the energy of morals and integrity. I feel like we're coming into a space where morals and integrity have always mattered, but I feel like the rise up of that is going to be we're going to see some of that coming back in, where we're going to be rising up into that feeling of this is what really matters morally and with integrity. So you may be finding that you've got even less room in your own life for anything that's out of alignment. And I feel a lot of people stepping out of that, like out of the alignment and into hard no's when it comes to morals and integrity. Just kind of keep that in the back of your mind that I've said it. I just feel like that's kind of coming in with all this clarity is, you know what? I see things from a different perspective and I don't feel good with it anymore. And I think I need to shift that. That's kind of how that felt there. Sometimes it's hard to really put into words the energy from the spirit dimensions, but I just felt like the moral and integrity piece really kind of shifting for many of us. All right, you guys, that is the energy update for the week. Passion, support, warming up, firing up. A really good thing to practice right now also, I almost forgot to say this, is make sure that your heart is in a really open to receive momentum. I'm open to receive the clarity from my highest good. I'm open to receive all of this momentum, this warm up energy. I always kind of remind myself to go back to that heart space. I'm open to receive, what I want to see, if you're open to receive it. Right? So just kind of a gentle, loving reminder there with the openness to receive. Let's dive into some questions here. Um, Good to see everybody here this morning. It's also spring break here, so the kiddos are having a lovely sleep-in morning. I think for many of them as they start their March break, or perhaps some of you guys are traveling for the spring break. A lot of travel happens right around spring break as well. Oh, there's Kyle. Hello, darling, and Holly. Let's grab Bianca's question. Morning. Any messages from my ancestors? I speak to them more when I journal. Journaling is a very good way to connect with ancestors. It kind of leans. It also leans you in, Bianca. You've probably felt this as well. It leans into a little bit of automatic writing. It opens up the receiving for messages. So journaling or automatic writing is a good way to receive. Bianca, I keep hearing it, and I'm not sure if I've said this to you before, but you're on the right path. And I feel like that expansion, they just expanded my peripheral vision. I feel like you've been expanding your own spiritual peripheral vision because I feel like I'm getting like a broader view from the sides. I'm seeing things from a broader perspective, and I also feel like you've done a little bit more of that letting go. They're giving me that letting go, that softening of the shoulders, and then not pushing all the time, but allowing things to come in. And they're really supporting you in that to continue that growth of allowing things to come in. It's like you've become less forceful, energetically. Like you're not so much as pushing against it, you're allowing it to come in, if that makes sense. And I say this to my mentoring students all the time. You don't have to force spirit to connect. You just have to allow it to come in. And that's a big one for all of us. If you've been working on your connection, allow it to come in. You don't have to force it or push against it or command it. You just need to kind of allow it. Bianca, I think you're getting really, really good at that allowing energy. So well done, you. Um, Bianca, it was very foggy for me this morning. I think spring is intense for some people. More people have been booking my readings than usual. Well done, you. Well, so I didn't read that before I read your first question. So there's the allowing energy. You're seeing the allowing. You're not forcing, right? And when I first started reading, and I've told the story 100 times to many people, but I'm gonna just shorten the version here. Is I always wanted to get X number of readings in on a day, and I would push against it and push against it, and I would put spirit never gave me the extra reading or the extra 2 readings that I wanted. I wasn't quite ready to channel at that level. So I had to work where I was working and allow it to come in, and now I can handle 6 or 7 readings at a day. So it's the allowing piece. When we allow ourselves to work with where we're working or allow ourselves to connect where we're at, it does gain a lot of momentum. It also builds a lot of trust. Cynthia, good morning. Are there any messages from my dad or spirit? Okay, I literally had to take a big breath, a big breath in, and they're really he's emphasizing the exhale with so for me, when spirit does that, that's the letting go, like the real bit and letting go of all things that you're holding, not just one particular thing. But I think it's like a let go of all of it, of being able to release. They're trying to help you release, Cynthia. So is there anything there that you've been holding on to that you're perhaps more ready now to let go? But they're pushing me with this letting go. I also am seeing a lot of amethyst. Like all of a sudden, I was seeing like amethyst around me, and when I see amethyst in my awareness, and is a very calming. Like they're trying to help you with that calming energy, that settling in energy, that being able to connect at a softer frequency. I'll leave that there for you, Cynthia, to see if that resonates. Lucy, can you please connect with my mom or my child's father? I can't seem to. Lucy, they're always around you. They're always around you, whether you can feel them or not, whether you get signs or not, they are always around. It does take some time for us to kind of, especially with the feelings, to be able to feel. And there's many, 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 many reasons. But when we're working through a lot of our own feelings and emotions, it can be hard to tap in. I'm just curious there, Lucy. The number four is popping up in my awareness. So is April significant or the fourth of any month? I'm also in September. September, significant anniversary, birthday, or passing seems to be significant there. The big thing that just went across my awareness is you have always been enough. You're good enough. You've been enough. You've been supportive enough. You're doing enough. The word you have always the words you've always been enough are coming in full on there. And did one of them leave here unexpectedly? Was there an unexpected? Because I heard your goodbye. They're pulling on my ear. I heard the goodbye, and I felt like there was either someone didn't get a chance to say goodbye, or I left here unexpectedly and didn't get a chance to say goodbye. And they've also they're holding a note. So I'm curious if you have written one or if you've been reading a note or a card from one of them because they're holding a letter in their hand. Holly, do you have any messages from my mom or mother-in-law? I'm just having a lean in there, Holly. Holly, there's something that you've been, well, they're showing me, that they've been helping you plant seeds of new beginnings. So have you been like working on something new or planting something? And it has more of a new beginnings kind of energy. They're helping you plant seeds of new beginnings. So I'm curious if you've been like new ways of thinking, new ways of being, if you've been planting seeds. There's also something with that's going to be, just remember that I said it. I'm not sure where you live, but there's going to be something that sprouts that's going to be very unusual, either in a garden that you didn't plant or something that you planted somewhere and it moved somewhere else. And the reference to that is what is the growth, is watching you grow. They're also very proud of watching you grow, if that makes sense. There's something there with your own growth, whether it be your own spiritual growth or your point of view growth. I mean, they're supporting you in the new growth. Wow, I love that. I love that. Um, where are we here? Qatar. Good morning, Leonard. Does my mom have any messages for me? I miss her a lot sometimes. She's showing me the color yellow, and she's singing the song, "I'm walking on sunshine, hey." So if you can play that song if you get a chance. She's literally and there's all this music around her as well, so I'm curious if music was a big reference for her or a big reference for you, but I feel like you're getting a lot of references from songs, or if you've been playing her favorite song, or there's something there with songs, but she's also showing me, like, big, beautiful, bright things. Like, she literally just put this when the sun gets in your eyes when you're driving or you're outside and you look a certain way and the light's in your eyes, there's a lot of light there. I'm curious if you've been getting a lot of light reference from her, like flickering of lights or a lot of bright there's a lot of brightness. So, like, so she surrounds you in it, surrounding you in all this bright energy. There's just this glow. So she's glowing everything. There's something there with a lot of the light energy. Um, like, she's bringing in sunflowers. She won't stop with this bright I'm asking her to, like, get the light out of my eyes. She's also helping you see. So she's bringing in a lot of this light to help you see, whether we see things different, see things with clarity, seeing things new ways. She's trying to help you see different things with all this brightness. She's also on me with there's a lot of brightness around you. There's a lot of bright new beginnings. There's a lot of bright she's bringing in I love how she's doing this for me. She's bringing in the brightness. So if you've been struggling with anything heavy or if you've been trying to look for something, look at the bright. And if it helps you, wear a little bit of yellow or kind of acknowledge bright things or bright energy or bright sunlight. She's really focusing in on all this brightness. Um, Diane, my dreams have been so vivid. Dreams and so Diane, I'm gonna touch base a little bit there with dreams. Has there been a theme to it? When there's a theme to our dreams, quite often there's a message in our dreams. Kyle, a lot of coincidences have come up about this Moulin Rouge play. I got invited to this Friday. Anything spirit guides think I should keep an eye out for this? Kyle, as always, I always say, I always go in with a layer of protection around me. I feel like I need, the vibration of fun and the vibration of allowing, the vibration of trusting your own gut feelings. They just gave me that. I don't feel terrible about this, but I feel like I need to go in openly and lovingly. yet protected. I think sometimes we can leave ourselves, especially if you're higher on the empath scale, we can leave ourselves too open and feel things a little bit too raw. So lovingly with a protection around you, but still openly having a good time, openly having the experience, openly, to leave what doesn't resonate with me there. Even if it's people, I'm just going to have the experience, but I don't have to absorb everything all the time. I hope that that makes sense there for you, Kyle. PJ2804, good morning, Lana. As always, thank you for your insight, knowledge, and kindness and support. Are there any specific health messages from my guardian angels that are trying this in? PJ, I suddenly felt inflamed. I know you know this. I'm not a doctor, so if you need to see a doctor, please do. But I feel the energy of inflamed. And inflamed, when I feel that, that's the holding on. So have you? And I feel like my shoulders are kind of bothering me all of a sudden too. Is there something that you've been holding on to that you're ready to release and let go? I feel like it's almost like I have to unpack something, and because it's tight and heavy, and I feel like it's weighing me, inflaming me. I'm also a little bit aware of my stomach, and I feel like I'm holding some energy there. Some release work is probably a really good idea, even if you don't necessarily have the words to go with it. There are things that we hold on to that we can't always put into words. So when we let go, and there's many different ways of letting go, it must resonate with you. If you don't have the words, you can tap into the feeling. So you can grab a piece of rose quartz. You can just say, I'm feeling really heavy right now. I need to work through it. I'm going to let it go. Right. So I'm giving myself permission to put down the feeling of, or if I'm carrying something and I don't know what it is. Right. And sometimes we cannot verbalize it. Put your hand up if you're feeling something and you can't verbalize it. It could be something that you don't even necessarily have memory of. It could be something that you've absorbed. We absorb a lot more than what you guys may realize you do. Right? Think about how you feel after being around or around a lot of people for an extended period of time. Have you ever felt tired or exhausted energetically, even though you had a great time? It doesn't mean that you had a hard time. It means that you absorbed everybody's energy. We can absorb things without it being negative. We can just pick up on everything and hold it. So it's always good to just simply let go. Drop your shoulders, big breath in and let go. People put out a frequency. And even though we're having a good time and you're around really good people, we all carry our stuff. We all have our things that we carry and are processing, and empaths can absorb that energy even though we're having a good time, if that makes sense there. Bianca, thank you. Yes, I used to have really bad anxiety growing up and feel I've outgrown some of that control and feel more easygoing for the most part. I love that for you. Wes, Lana, in case you didn't see it, Shy is at the dentist. Oh, I am not a fan of the dentist. I hope she's having an okay time with that. I There are a few things that I really don't like. The dentist is one of them. I gotta talk myself into going to the dentist. Ray, I love the spiritual growth message. I channeled some relatives yesterday and everything was surprisingly spot on. The validation was a huge confidence boost. I love that for you. The more we trust and the more that we allow and the more that we just surrender into that energy. And I think as humans, we naturally overthink things. And we know, what if I'm making this up? What if it's not accurate? What if I'm wrong? The moment that we put all that down, it's an interesting opening. It's an opening up of like almost a whole different channel that we're on the moment we put all that down, and then the validation does come in. Kim, hi, Lana. Happy to finally catch a live with you. Any messages from spirit for me? Kim, I feel like a new spirit guide came in right around end of November, early December, bringing in a lot of support and a lot of guidance energy. And I'm curious if you've been navigating through a little bit of change because it doesn't necessarily be heavy change, but a lot of new things coming in. But there's a support there, and I feel like I just got to lean in once in a while. We need to lean in on our spirit guides with, I know they're there. I'm happy. I'm taking the support. Can you show me the way? I feel like I'm being held up and supported, but I feel like it's like new things. So if new things haven't come in yet, th- uh, they're preparing you for some new things, new and I feel excited. I feel excitement around that there, Kim. I love my family, but need my own space away from them because I feel many of them are on a low frequency sometimes. Bianca, so this is a really good comment, Bianca. You're right. Some people are processing their own things and are going through their own things and have their own frequency going on. And we do absorb them. So if you're an absorber, and you know that about yourself, level up. Level up on the protection energy or the absorbing energy and whatever way resonates with you. You're right. People have their own stuff going on. And I always kind of look at it this way, Bianca, is not only am I in my own lane, but they're in their own lane having their own experiences too. And I always lean in on what are they learning, right? What are they learning? They're learning something right now. And I'm over here learning. And space is a good way. And keeping a balance with that space. But I always, and that's why you guys, I always wear, and for me, this is what I resonate with. If you don't resonate with crystals, you don't have to wear them. But what am I? I'm wearing a selenite. Selenite, is selenite moon. But it keeps that negativity from me from absorbing. It's the same thing with on my wrist. For me, that's what I resonate with. If I'm not wearing crystals, I make sure that I let go of any energy that I absorb, whether it be a saltwater bath, or what I brought to show you guys is my selenite wand. I'll literally like do 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 do. I literally, isn't this fantastic? Hocus pocus, change of focus. I love this guy. So I think that because we do absorb things and people put stuff out and it's not an intentional frequency that they do. Here's my trauma, absorb it. It's that they're working through their learning too and their processing too and their experiences too. So any way that and again, it's all intention. You don't have to run out and buy a wand, but I think this thing is amazing. But if you can have a way of connecting to something to remove anything that we've absorbed, because we do, and we also absorb the good things too, right? So when you look at people, um who do you hang out with that makes you feel really good, right? Because they put out that frequency and you absorb it. So it's the same thing on the other side with people who are putting out a frequency of things that are heavy in their own world. And I always just remind myself they're learning something too, and I don't have to absorb it. And I can also cheer for them from here. I'm cheering for you that you heal yourself. Because we also can't force people to heal. And that we also when until they're ready, right? Until they're ready to heal, I'm cheering for you. I hope that resonates there with you guys. Diane, my workplace has been so negative lately. I just stay away from certain coworkers. That's a good way of doing it too. Avoidance. Um, Recharging yourself is another good way. If you can get outside on a lunch break, if you can look out a window and connect to the sky, anything that you can do to kind of pull in that any kind of protection energy is great. Um, Brimus Silvera. How do I know the difference between a download or my own thoughts? Beautiful question. And it can there are many different ways, and I always say you will figure out your own way as well. Our own thoughts have a very different for me anyway. My own thoughts versus a download. A download feels very solid to me. My own thoughts feel like a bit of a wobble. Now, we do receive downloads through our thoughts because the information has to come in from somewhere, and we do process things from our headspace when we work on allowing that to kind of push through, and I always ask myself, am I thinking this or am I knowing this? I know it. Ask yourself that question. How does it feel? If it feels like a solid download, trust it. Sometimes we're just overthinking the download, and then our thoughts get in there. Journaling. And sometimes a download will come back to you again if you've kind of I'm not sure about that. You'll get it again and then you'll get it again. So you will learn to feel the difference the more that you kind of sit with that energy. Um, Every morning, I get up and I meditate, and for example, for the Monday energy updates, I sit and I ask. So I will ask for the energy, and it's very different than my thoughts because I'm feeling it coming in. I may get a word or two or a feeling or two and I just allow that information to come in. When I overthink it is when you run into trouble. So try not to overthink the thoughts. Try not to overanalyze things. Work on just allowing the information to flow through and journal it. if and until you and all you have to do is just journal it, and you'll be surprised when you go back through your journals as the downloads that you got, the information that you got, you'll be like, "Oh my goodness, how did I know that?" It's a connection, and working on your connection and is another good way. Spending some time to intentionally connect, just sitting still, sitting outside, breathing in, what do I need to know? You will receive the information. It'll have a slightly different feeling than a thought usually. We all have our own connection, so sometimes it can feel different for other people, and I say working on trusting how you are receiving it is a great gift that you can give yourself. I'm gonna trust whatever I know, and you don't I think when I look back, if I go back 20 years ago-ish when I was, doing my own downloads, I wasn't pulled to share them. It wasn't until probably in the last maybe 8 years-ish that I've been pulled to share my downloads, and the biggest reason for that was I wasn't confident yet in sharing it, and that's okay, all right? You build that muscle, you build that trust enough to say, "Hey, I got a download from Spirit. This is what Spirit told me," right? So, and in my mentoring students, when we meet once a week, we'll often say, this is what Spirit told me." And the more that you trust it, and the more that you will get, and it's a beautiful unfolding of your own connection. Thank you there for that question, by the way. That was a really good one. Wes, do you see all the questions I relayed from her? No, Wes, I have not. I'll try and scroll up if I get a chance. Wes, is Spirit able to feel when Shy is going to move to a new place? Wes, I feel like there's a few things. So, number one, I'm curious if there have been a space or two that has popped up for her, because I also feel that this is also going to depend on her readiness, and choices. So I'm curious to know that, because I feel like she's got a little bit of choice in that. I also feel and I would say to her, she needs to trust herself more, if that makes sense. Trusting the process, trusting the space, trusting the timeline. I feel like there's a wobble there that I need to work through with trust. Kim, yes, I feel like I'm in a shift of acceptance and happiness. Thank you. You're welcome. Kim, if you're still listening, really come in and to set an intention once a day to hand on your heart and keeping that heart space open. 'Cause I feel like I got to remind myself I'm worthy of this. I'm going to allow this. This is delicious. I feel like intentions are so important when we can just kinda take a moment, doesn't have to be a long moment. I am worthy of happiness, and I am salivating and frolicking in it. Moments like that are really, really important. Bianca, do you feel some people have mental disorders such as schizophrenia, have gifts that are hard to manage? Ooh, this is a really good question. I teach kids with some of these and wonder if they are tapped in but struggle managing it. So there are a couple different things I want to say about this. And again, I'm not a doctor. Um, People with mental health, a lot of them are extremely connected to the spirit dimensions, and it does get tangled up from the physical world, issues, physical world, mental issues. Sorry, let me reword that. They also have authentic issues with their brain. It's not solely because they're connected, but people with certain diagnosis have a very clear, crisp connection to the spirit dimensions. And the reason for that is that they're more open here, and we don't often understand it. Now, I'm also going to talk about people with dementia. People with dementia are very connected to the spirit dimension because their brain isn't functioning the same way that their brain would have functioned before the Alzheimer's or the dementia um i- i- gain momentum into their brain, but they don't have that block anymore of is it real, is it not real? It's more of an allowing, and they're able to go between both worlds. Autism children are extremely connected to the spirit dimensions. They can channel, they can see, they can feel. They're empaths. There are so many. I could sit here all day and just simply talk about the reasons for this and their connections. Do we understand all of it? No, we don't. However, when they're communicating, the spirit dimensions are really loving. I have this conversation with caregivers all the time. When they talk about the vibration of love, or if they're seeing a loved one, or if they're seeing a spirit guide, it has the feeling of that powerful, powerful loving energy, because there are some mental health disorders that have more of that paranoid or angry or heavier feeling. That's not spirit. It's when they're channeling different things from a loving space and you can feel it, that's when they're connected, because there are a few different things, a few different layers to this question. um Bianca, but absolutely, yeah, they have an easier way of connecting. So, and it's because their brain isn't wired the same way that many people here are. Let me get one thing straight though. We are all connected. We can all work on our connection. We can all develop our connection. Nobody is exempted from that. Does it take some work? Yes. Does it take some trust? Absolutely. But every single one of us can develop. I have learned how to disconnect my brain. Do I still use it? Yes, and I've even watched some of my previous videos, my previous lives, because people have pointed out you can actually see the moment when you leave your brain. And then I come back to my brain to it's kind 'cause I need my brain to speak the message, but you can see the disconnect from the brain, and that's why I keep the extra chair beside me. There's an extra chair right here. That's for my brain to have a seat, and that's for spirit to have a seat. There are several, medical disorders, that they have an easier time with that, being able to disconnect from the brain. It's fascinating topic. It's a fascinating topic. I can't tell you how many times I have channeled someone who is either has significant impairments, and I can't tell if they're here or there. I can't tell because they're able to go back and forth. So it's hard for me to tell where they're at. It's usually with dementia. I'll be channeling something, a ton of validation, and I'll pause for a moment, and I'm like, I don't know where they are, and I'll say to the, does this resonate with you? Yeah, but they're living, and I'll say, are they living with a cognitive impairment? And they like, yeah, they got end stage dementia. I can't tell where they are, and in my nursing career, I held in many, many, many dying hands. Many of them had cognitive impairment, and they would tell me the most incredible things that they were seeing before they passed, as well as people who don't have cognitive impairment. But people who are close to death can also see into the spirit dimensions as well. If I have any healthcare workers or hospice nurses here, you've probably got your own experiences where they were sharing what they were seeing, who's coming for them, who's standing by the bedside. It's profound. I think throughout my entire nursing career, that's where the most magic was. Yeah. Wow, I love that one. Fits you so well, and I see you in a fairy light. I take this thing everywhere with me. It's been I'm really loving this, I'm really loving that one. It's, it's a lot of fun. The vibration of fun, and here I just wanna tap into this. The spirit dimensions are not overly serious. It's all it is only fun. When you think about love, peace, light, all the words that we use to describe the spirit dimensions, fun is on top of the list as well. They're not up there all serious. They know what we're here learning. They know what we're here experiencing. They know that we miss them, but they are bringing in a lot of the fun. And spirit has said to me a million and one times, you're taking this too seriously. Loosen up. All right. So loosen up. And what happens? My connection goes zing. S- Don't take it so seriously. All right. Um, right. Not schizophrenia per se, but I have ADHD and I feel channeling is naturally easier for me. Yeah. So and ADHD is another one. Forgot to mention the ADHD one, but Ray, hey, absolutely, because ADHDers have an easier way of disconnecting. And that's why they don't think the same, so that they can connect very a lot easier. It's when we allow our brain to just be our brain, the connection is very sharp, very, very sharp. Um, Marlene. Hello, Lana and everyone. Love and light to you all. Love and light to you, darling. Ray H, it is an incredible question. And if you guys have any more questions on that, I'm happy to talk more about it. Cheryl. Good morning, Lana. Are there any messages for me? Cheryl, I was literally, dancing. My feet were like Snoopy dancing. I was literally like dancing. I feel like I'm gaining a lot of momentum in my own growth and in my own healing, and I feel like it's bringing you into a place of pure happy feet. I feel it's really funny. You know that movie Happy Feet was a penguin? I feel like I'm I'm over a lot of humps. I'm over a lot of hurdles. I'm over a lot of beating myself up for things that are way over here now. Way over here being like past or situations. I just feel like I'm freeing myself even more and more, and I feel like I'm gaining that momentum that's bringing me into a dancing space. You've always did the best that you could with where you were standing and where you knew at the time, and I just feel like I've just literally wanted who's that character that does this? The Hulk. I feel I'll feel like I've, like, gotten the superpower strength of letting go and breaking free, and I feel like there's more and more and more of that coming, and we never really hit a ceiling of that feeling, but I feel like I'm dancing my way there, if that makes sense to you. Bianca, when I channel in my readings, sometimes random songs come up, sometimes, but I've learned to trust my instincts, and sometimes spirit shows me something in my own life, absolutely, to help me explain the message. Absolutely, Bianca, and sometimes the song, it might not necessarily be the words of the song, it can be the energy of the song. It can absolutely be the song. It could be something about the song to get you to say a certain thing. Working in the spirit dimensions can be like putting together a puzzle sometimes, and they will show us certain things to get us to say certain things. So if I see something about my own personal life, it's quite often a name, someone in my own personal life, I'll see their face or something about them or about how they passed. It's about how they passed, or it's about their energy to get me to say something that will resonate with somebody, that with the person, with my client. Um, so for example, if I see a particular person that's passed, um, who passed by a drowning, that's the reference that will connect with somebody else. Or if it's a name, if I see my current partner, if I see my spouse, it's his name. And I'll see his face, in comes his face, and I'll be like, I have to say his name. They will show us things to get us to say things. Because it is, remember, anybody who channels, and this is, an interesting one that I think some people struggle with. When we're channeling, we are hearing and seeing and feeling things from the non-physical. If they're here, we're working very differently. If we're connecting to the spirit dimensions, we're literally communicating outside of the physical world. The spirit dimensions are non-physical, so it doesn't have the same feeling. Words, we don't hear the words as clear. We're using our ears to hear into the spirit dimensions, and things sound differently. So, we have to adapt like that, and we never truly know how we're working or how long we're gonna be working that way. I can change how I'm working in a session 8 to 10 times easily. So I'll usually, if you see me looking up, they're writing to me. They'll often write me things. Sometimes they're playing something over here in a like a movie. Sometimes I'm just hearing it. Sometimes I'm just knowing it. Sometimes they're showing me things. But when we work in it with the non-physical, the communication isn't the same as the physical world that we communicate here. Sometimes it's feelings, and I've learned many, many things. I've learned with spirit how to I don't necessarily wanna feel everything, because then I literally feel it. So I don't wanna use the word train them. We have worked together on how I wanna receive it as well. So I don't want to feel a heart attack or feel it. I want to be aware of it. So I'll say, "Okay, how did you leave here?" And I'll have an awareness to my lungs. I'll have an awareness to my head. I'll have an aware well, I where because in the past version of me, because I was learning how to figure this out, I would literally feel it, and that is way too much for me to deal with. I don't wanna feel the passing, I wanna be aware of it. So, I had to work with them to kind of figure out how we're gonna work together and how this is going to navigate, and it's the same thing with smells, right? I would rather smell something, I'd rather smell than have that feeling. Give me an awareness. I don't wanna feel everything. It's an incredible journey on learning how to work with spirit. It's incredible, and everybody has their own unique way of working. But remember, when you're seeing a reader, they're working in another dimension, so they're figuring out what certain things mean. Alright. You guys are coming up with some brilliant questions, by the way. Marlene, question: what is going on with my neck? I have had trouble for over a year with pain turning turning my neck. I'm going to a doctor today and I do not want to have surgery. What can I do to heal it? Um, I'm glad that you're going to see a doctor. I think it's always important. I always say if the medical world and this and the holistic world or spirit community could work together, profound things can happen. So I do feel that it's a good thing to get that checked out. I don't feel terrible with it. I would also I would also really suggest, 'cause I feel like a tension. I feel like something's tense there, and if and, our tension and experiences can cause, physical ailments. It's not all energy that we can just naturally work through. So I feel if you can do both. I'm not convinced you need surgery, but let's see what the doctor says. I feel like I've been pinched, so I'm curious if throughout the years you've been held back, if you've been, like, silenced, if you've been because I feel like I've been pinched is how they're giving it to me. I feel like I've been squeezed. I feel like I've been pushed down. I feel like I haven't been allowed to here I am. So I think that if you can start working on really standing in your own truth with here I am without being pinched or held down. I feel pushed down and that could come from just your work experience or experience with friends. You've never felt truly comfortable 'cause I feel like I've been pinched. This is how they're giving it to me like a squeeze. When somebody pinches your trigger point to freeze you, I feel like I've been frozen a lot throughout my experiences. So I need to wet my whistle here, guys. Sorry. So I think that if you can work on standing in your truth, doing that mirror exercise where you talk to yourself and say, you know what? Awesome. If you can kind of embrace all of who you are, not everybody has to resonate with you. Those little things, because I feel like I've been squeezed down. So I don't want to use the word control, but have you had a lot of people telling you what to do or experiences where you were not allowed, Marlene, to be who you really are? That's what this feels like to me. So I think that if you can kind of stretch out who you are, not everybody has to like you. Right, and that's something that I think will help and loosen that pinch. I feel like I'm squeezed or pinched, held down as to who I am, and you quite often we have to do this all by ourselves, right? Like going for the forest and shouting from the top of a hill, "Here I am, hear my voice." Those little things really help loosen that squeeze down. Many people have not been allowed to be who they are, right? And sometimes we don't allow ourselves to be who we are, whether it be fear or being shamed or of whatever the reasons are. Not everybody's comfortable with judgment. I have really gotten to a place where I wish, judge me all you want, that's your opinion. I don't have to pick it up. I do my best to be a good human, and if you don't like what I do or who I am or how I walk or how I dress or how I talk, right? I'm open though, if somebody says, "Well, this is how you make this those words kind of made me feel this way." I'm open to communicate, but I'm not absorbing any judgment. So I feel, Marlene, that there's just something there that's been squeezed over the years, and you've just kind of stayed in that space, if that makes sense to you. All right, this was a great topic. I agree, Ray. You guys have like fascinating questions for me. I love when you throw questions like that at me. Jackie, what would you be able to provide a general message if time permits? Jackie, I had to unclench my jaw. I was literally like, I feel like I need to like loosen a little bit. I feel like I've got to kind of just remind you that perfection is always there in different ways. And we don't always have to have perfect moments, or we don't all it can perfection can be messy. There we go. Perfection, it can be chaotic, can be perfect, can be perfect. It's perfectly chaotic right now. So I feel like I need to like loosen up on the perception of things being perfect, because I think you already are. I think you're beautiful, and I think that you need to shine bright from that. And I think that I just need to kind of like I'm gonna change how I'm looking at that. Right now is exactly where I'm supposed to be. Right now, it's perfectly perfect, and I feel like I just need to kind of, like, loosen a little bit. I feel like I need to kinda, like, put things down a little bit. I don't have to pick everything up all at once. Like, it's like I have to carry everything at once in order for things to be perfect. I just feel it feels like that Virgo energy. I love you Virgos, by the way, but I just feel like sometimes we just need to acknowledge it's perfectly messy right now. It's perfectly messy. We there's not always something to fix. There we go. We don't always have to fix something. It, chaos can be perfectly chaotic with what I'm learning right now. I'm learning that right now. It's perfectly messy because I'm perfectly messy. I'm perfectly messy, and I'm going to allow myself to cry. It's okay, right? That's the kind of feelings that they're giving me, and this is a really powerful message for many of us. It doesn't have to be what we perceive as perfect. We can be messy and be perfect in our messiness. Healing is messy. When we're navigating through healing is so snot-nosed messy. It truly is, and it's okay. We're working through our healing perfectly. You see, like, we put ourselves under that microscope too much, and we analyze it too much. Embrace it all. Uh, okay, Katerina, thank you for the message, Lena. I definitely play a lot of music for my mom. Oh, I love that. Ray, hey, yep, my head is always in the clouds. Yes, so not that I don't wanna use the word problem because it's not really a problem, but I'm over in the spirit dimensions, like, they kick me out. Go to the physical world for a little while. Go be physical. It's always, like, way over here, way up there for me all the time, and yes, they do kick me out. So, yeah, yeah, I'm not really embarrassed to say that, but yeah, Marlene, dear Lana, do you see anything with my health that I should bring up to my doctor today, that I'm not aware of or that I may not think of? I'm just having a feeling of that for a minute. Um, I don't, Marlene. Um, I feel like you're looking after yourself the best way that you can. I also feel that I'm not picking up on anything major here. I think that just in general, there's always room for us to self-improve our health. I'm guilty of not drinking enough water or exercising enough, but I feel like other than the usual, there's always room for self-improvement. I'm not picking up on anything there. And trust how your own body feels when you tap into yourself. What do you feel? Bianca, not sure if you can do this. If not, it's okay. But oh, Nancy got three. Okay, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about why I don't do videos on what I think is happening on certain cases. I will if I'm asked by family, right? I have this thing and it's just my thing. And I will comment a little bit about Nancy Guthrie, but I struggle big time for my own integrity. This isn't about people who do videos on missing people and all of that. I struggle with making a video and talking about something without family coming to me or getting permission. I feel very strong in that. I would never, ever do a video on somebody's missing person, um, for clicks, for likes. I cannot do it. I cannot do it. Um, if people and I have done many cases. I have done many missing cases and cold cases, and if I feel it's appropriate, I will ask the family. I will say, Imagine being Nancy Guthrie's family." Or any missing person's family, and you've got all these readers that you didn't ask to chime in, doing cards, and I'm not judging the readers. Please don't think that. I'm talking about for me. When and that goes online, and that goes for the world to see. On Imagine hearing that from a stranger who's doing a video. I struggle with that. That is a me thing. I'm not saying these reader I'm not judging these readers. It's just my personal opinion on why I do not. So Nancy Guthrie, um, I don't feel she's here. That being said, that is all that I will say on that. Because of what I just said. I have great integrity with my connection with spirit, and I will not do a video on missing people without family permission. I won't do it. I just won't. So, it would probably if I did, it would probably skyrocket my channel, I'm aware of that, but that's not why I show up for spirit. It's for me. Again, it's not I'm not it's please know that I'm not judging people who do. This is a me thing. Okay, it's a me thing. I'm sure their intention is to help. I'm sure their intention, with whether it be tarots or channeling or putting a video out what they think, and everyone's entitled to their opinion and to do that. It's not something that I am comfortable with. Okay, and I'm curious, you guys. So since I shared how I felt, I'd like you I'd like you, if you're comfortable, to put in the comment section, what do you feel about what I said? Do you feel it's okay to make a video about what Spirit said and post it live, or post it on YouTube, or post it somewhere? I truly wanna know how you feel. What do you guys feel about that? Have we crossed over a line there? Where do you feel how do you feel about that? How do you feel about when I say I won't do it because this is how I you know what, I think for me, I don't think it's a respectful thing to do for the family. If a family came to me and asked my opinion and I said, "Can I do a video on it?" Different story. But how do you guys feel about that? Oh, we've been online quite a while. All right, I'm gonna keep going a few more since I got some extra time. It was hard channel for me. Okay, yeah. Automatic writing is the best method for me. I always wrote novels as a kid, so it naturally resonated. Bianca, interesting how health issues parallel our emotions. The body keeps score. Many women in my family get headaches. And mental problems, but I feel it's due to survival mode and lack of self-love and care. Absolutely. It also has a lot to do with, many of us are not taught from a young age to let go. We don't teach our littles, to let go of their emotions. We don't we might for a little bit, we'll sit with them while they cry, we'll give them a big hug, but we don't, as a general rule, give people practices from a young age on how to process and let go. We carry things, and depending on your experience, and especially how old you are, I think we're getting better with every generation, but there are generations that believe that you don't talk about it, you push it down. There are things you don't talk about. We're often shamed. We all, we you should be ashamed of what happened or whatever it is that you did. We're not always taught how to process and let go, or other people's expectations, and that we carry, and then we hold it in our body. And our body, because it's physical, responds to emotion when it holds it, and there's only so much a physical body can hold on to. So when we hold on for whether it be days, months, or years, our body, I don't want to hold it anymore, says the body. Right. And the body's trying to teach us how to let go, how to heal, how to work through it. I do feel that we're getting better and better and better at it. And, maybe in another 100 years, if you're interested in reincarnation to see how we're doing down here, um, I think, yeah, it'll be another 100 years. 'Cause I heard some of you say 100 years. I think we are getting better when you look at us today versus our ancestors and how they dealt with things, we are getting better and better and better. Um I'm just gonna scroll down to the bottom to see if anybody's picked up when I you guys have any comments on what I said? Oh, here's one. I feel the exact this is, Deanna. I feel the exact same way as you, how terrible it would be for the families to have to see all those things said that was unsolicited by them. I'm with you about privacy and dealing with their own. Thank you for that. Not just celebs. One guy I was dating briefly, I kept asking the cards about him and how he felt, and I got no answer. And he told me in person he was very private. Spirit can block you. Spirit can block you. I'm very careful in a reading. If somebody says what's going on with so and so, I will feel into it if I feel they're okay or I feel you should reach out. But I won't read somebody in your life without their consent. I won't. Olivia, if someone truly, really wants to help, the only way they can do so is by connecting with the family and authorities. Absolutely. Um, Now, have I taken my own notes? Yeah. Have there been times where I have reached out? Yeah. There was a missing person, local case here. And I reached out. It went okay. It went okay. Did they find them? Hmm. I was a meter and a half off on the location. I also, when they wanted to share, and I said I didn't want that. I didn't want that. For a few reasons too. Like, I mean, it can be very overwhelming. But I I feel you're correct, Lana, in my opinion. When you do things without person's permission, you're not doing what is best interest of that person. I think ego gets in the way many times. Yeah, and I also think that we've become very, loose with social media. I truly do believe that we become way too loose. The true crime, community, and I do follow some true crime community. There are some with integrity. And I feel like we become too loose there, and we've just forgotten a little bit of what, the impact the impact. It has big impact, right? It truly does. Could you imagine? I would be mortified. I would be mortified in somebody's most vulnerable state. Somebody decides to make a video of what spirit told them about what happened and puts it on the internet. I could not imagine. I really mean this, and you guys can look at my socials, you'll see it for yourself. I don't care about likes. I don't. I don't care about, numbers. I don't care. I couldn't tell you right now how many people follow my social media things. I don't care. It's not why I'm here. I'm here to help. I'm here to support. I'm here to teach. Follow me, don't follow me. I'm here to, journey with people. So, and I will never, ever, ever lose track of that. It is something that is very dear to my heart. I also don't need to. I'm very confident in what I do. I don't need that. I truly don't need it. Right. Spirit looks after me in many different ways. So I don't have that desire to have all these likes and clicks and follow cases and for that reason, right? So I'm happy to help. I have had people reach out for and to, ask me my opinion. I have had families reach out. Um not celebrities, but I have had people reach out and I'm happy to tap in, but I'm not willing to sell my soul for likes. Not gonna happen. I agree with your take, Lana. I can't imagine how difficult it would be to hear so many unasked opinions, theories during a difficult, emotionally vulnerable time. The other thing too is what if you're wrong? Mediumship mediumship does have its limitations, and I'm gonna explain that to you, okay? So, but what if you were translating something or brought your own feelings into it, or because there's too much information out there, on Nancy's case, for example, it's all over every news thing. I know so many people are talking about it. So you do get a lot of information that comes processing through, but what if you were wrong? Could you imagine doing a video saying, "I think that they're over there and they were here and you were wrong?" I cannot get my head wrapped around it, right? So, it is possible that that you can, because you can misinterpret a download. And I personally feel that it takes many, many years of mediumship to fully understand the information that comes through. So I just, if I'm asked about it by a family member, I'm happy to give my opinion. Now, do I ask, so let's say there's a missing persons case, will I ask? I will ask spirit. Sure I do. I'm gonna be honest. I'll say, "Okay, where are they and what happened?" All right? So, um, I will also ask, should I push forward and reach out? Um, and I have. If they give me a yes, I have. And so, that's just, where I stand on that. A reader from TikTok is being sued for defamatory oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, Bianca never really put much thought into that issue. I just kinda looked at it from the respect issue. I have so much respect. I'm not even on TikTok. Spirit will not let the hawk and here's an interesting one. Spirit will not let the hawk and I go on TikTok. I can go on TikTok without the hawk and I, but the spirit will not come with me on TikTok. So it's interesting. They were like, "Hard no," and I will not put the hawk and I on TikTok. All right here. Wes has a low battery. I'm just gonna scroll up. I'm really enjoying the topics today. That's something I wanted to practice privately, look into missing person cases, but not making videos on it at all. I just want to help in some way. Yeah, yeah. I think too, Ray. Um, I have acknowledged, I never will ever force myself on anybody either. you know, are the police open to it? Yeah, but they do use a word, I forget the wording on it. Now give me a second. Uh, Anonymous source. So I have done a few things, anonymous source, right? And it also protects the medium, right? When you think about it too, it puts you at risk. If you're out there working your work on missing people and things like that, not everybody's open to that, right? Like there's a whole other side to all of this. It's very interesting conversation, you guys. Thanks for the delicious chit chat. Um Lucia. Hi, Lana. So nice to see you. Lately, I've been craving more spiritual health. I'm already deep into my spirituality, but want more. But am I also ready? So I'm gonna say, yeah, you're ready. And I think that spirit will always give you what you're ready for. So sometimes it's smaller bites, and sometimes spirit will just like drop something. It's like that Acme, remember that Acme weight from the Coyote and the Roadrunner, and where all of a sudden it'll be like boom, and I'll be like, holy smokes, you guys, I wasn't ready for that level. And it's like, yeah, you were. And sometimes I feel like, oh, I want it, I'm ready, and spirit be like, not quite yet. Always trust, Lucia, with what they're giving you and how you feel, and trust and staying in that. And I have learned that in many different ways. Many different ways. Number one, thinking I was ready and I wasn't, and the opposite, being ready and I thought I wasn't. Right. So I always just bite and digest. And we do have, our own choice and free will. If spirit says I'm ready, I trust it now. 20 years ago, maybe not so much, right? So, but and they're patient. They waited for me to be ready, if that makes sense. Okay. Bianca, I see the ethical issue there for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Um, Thank you, Lana. I'm sending light and healing to you, Lana, and everyone in this video. Lots of love. This has been the longest live I think I've done for a while. It's because it's March break, you see. I feel the exact same way, how terrible it would be for the families to see all these things unsolicited by them. Yeah. Bianca, when I first started, I did more celeb and missing readings, but but over the years, I don't resonate with it anymore. Um, yeah, and Bianca, just so you know, and I'm not judging those who do. I want to be very, very clear. I'm just sharing my opinion on it. Because I think most of the people that are doing it, most of them, aren't meaning to cause harm, right? Like, I think in looking at intentions is important there. Um, but I just think that we've dropped the bar down a level on what's okay and what's not okay when it comes to social media. Um, you guys have very similar opinions. Hey, Lana, listening at work, I didn't know you were on. Yeah, I was a little bit later coming on today. I was a little bit later, but I'm able to hang out. So I wanted to know if you have a feel for when she's okay. I did answer that with Wes. Harvest Moonlight, I agree with you, your take. I can't imagine how difficult it would be to hear so many unasked opinions. It can also when it can also impact things. It can cause a lot of chaos too, right? I think that there's a right way to do it. I think that so here's an example. If I felt very, very pulled that I needed to tell somebody what spirit was showing, I would take it to the right people rather than put it online. There, I said it. I would. Great discussion. TikTok is a mess, though. Yeah, I don't know. I truly don't know. I have peeked at TikTok under my name only. I don't post any of the Hawk and I stuff on TikTok. Um, I don't even know much about TikTok. I have checked to see what all the hype is all about, but no, Spirit was a hard no, and I tried a few times getting on TikTok. Maybe just three times, 2 or 3 times. And once Spirit was like, hard no, we're out if you do. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll just trust that. It was more of a curiosity thing. Learned a lot from today's live. Today was a great live. I don't have any social media. I just watch YouTube. That's good. We can always control what you see and what you follow, even on on Facebook or Instagram, um, you can be very picky. I'm very picky on what I follow and who I follow. And I also feel that people have a choice. So the Hawk and I on Facebook is a closed page, because I feel that was my first social media was Facebook. And when I went with a closed page, people are like, "Why you have it as a closed page?" And my answer is simple. People have the choice on whether or not they want me in their feeds. People have a choice. If they don't wanna see me in their feeds or read my quotes in their feeds, they have that choice. So that's why the Hawk and I on Facebook is a closed group. If you want to join me, great. If you don't wanna join me, great, right? That's and I'm not on, a lot, like, I don't sit there and I'm not a scroller, so I'm very careful on what I put in my awareness. I hear you and definitely don't think the intentions are dark, but logically it's a bit invasive. Yeah, absolutely. All right, you guys. I get a no to go on TikTok as well. Interesting. Interesting. Lots of great topics and a good reminder that this is such a safe space. Not always the case in the world, but discernment is important. Absolutely, Olivia. Um, and that's why I'm here to provide a safe space for you guys to ask questions. And when I first, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about me and Miss Haley Reese. When Haley first offered to help me, so Haley helped me with the YouTube channel, and she was like, "You should do it. I think you're ready." And I'm like, "Oh God, really?" And she really supported me. She was like, I think that there'll be people out there that you could really help. So I thought, okay. So then I literally, so Haley helped me get it all set up and showed me how to use YouTube, and then I literally put my channel into the strongest ball of protection. I think that I've ever kind of worked with energetically. I really, really wanted to be protected. So in the last several years, I think, give or take, I think I've had 3 negative comments on my channel. So the protection has really, really worked, and I still do it. Where'd that one go? I will literally like go over the YouTube channel with that protection, because I only want to bring in a positive energy. So the protection does work, and your intentions, it does have a big impact on that. Because nobody really wants to read those negative, really crazy stuff, right? Okay, let's see. Let's grab an angel number, and then we'll grab a spirit animal. Marlene, my dilemma is that I'm trying to talk to trees and ask their permission, but they don't answer and I can't hear them. It's just it's just not humans that need us to get permission. Absolutely. I do permission with everything. So, Marlene, instead of hearing them, I'm going to give you a bit of a tip here because I do a lot of work in the forest. Um, Instead of hearing them, feel them. Feel it. And it's the same thing with animals. When I teach animal communications, it's often a feeling. Animals are heart-centered. So is nature, very heart energy, right? So go into how that feels. And always asking permission. I always. It's a great, you know, it's a great practice. Can I come and sit with you? I do it all the time, even with a dead log. If I want to go and sit on a dead log in the forest, I will like, can I have a seat? Or can I have a seat? Okay. My mother always says, "Ask permission when entering a forest or going for a hike." Absolutely. Same thing with animals. "Can I pet that dog?" Ask I had to, sorry, guys. I always ask permission before I put my hand out. 291. Trust that you're being guided about your divine life purpose. You don't need to know everything about your purpose now. Just keeping the faith and following your intuitive guidance is all that is required. So what we talked about earlier. Okay. Animal. All right, you guys, help me out. Dr. Stephen Farmer, Spirit Animal Book. What do we need to know? Coyote. Lighten up. You're taking things much too seriously. See, I told you the spirit dimensions are not serious. It's quite loosey goosey out there. The resources you need are available. Something quite unexpected, not necessarily welcome, is about to happen. Rather than fight or running from this situation, it will work out better if you adjust to it. Look for the lessons in the turmoil you're experiencing. Forgive yourself for any mistakes or errors, and look for the gifts that have come out of the experience. Wow. Since we've got some time, where's that book? Where's that deck? Let's do. Maybe I just don't want to disconnect from you guys today. Let's do a card draw. And I don't know this deck by heart. So this is Love Your Inner Goddess guidebook by Alana Fairchild. I have not spent a whole lot of time with this deck, so I will probably have to look up the card, and that's okay. You don't have to have every card and every deck fully memorized. Yay, extra messages. Oh, feel them. That makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Oh, we got a jumper. A jumper. Priority of purpose, card number 30. So I will show it to you there. I am gonna have to look it up. Isn't that a beautiful? That's a beautiful card. All right, so card number 30. Sorry, guys. Apparently I can't count. Okay, so drawing this card, you are a dreamer, but you are also meant to be a doer. It's the right time to cast off some of the demands on your time and attention that are keeping you from pursuing your true purpose. If you have any dreams, that's fine, but it's wise to focus on what you can do now. Allow your other dreams to resurface when it is time and in alignment. So that's the whole pushing against, right? The whole allowing energy. Um, when it's okay, sorry, I lost my spot. Allow your other dreams to come forward. When it's time to attend to them, you'll know. For now, do what you can and don't be afraid to take things as they go along the way. Spiritual guidance. Making a choice can be hard, as if to say yes to one thing, you have to say no to another. Remember that saying no is just saying not right now rather than never. That's really good. There is a higher plan for your life that includes all of your passions. You can do it all, but not just all at once. Your soul knows how to build your most inspired and beautiful divine life, as if it was building something extraordinary, like a temple for your spirit. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Sacred ritual. Write a list. This is what matters most to my heart and soul. Read your list aloud and say, I trust my soul is blessed and will show me how to create the most beautiful destiny one step at a time. I like that one. I like that one. I'll have to manifest some more time on learning more about these cards. All right. For those of you on March break, enjoy your people, your little people. Hopefully we get some nice weather and be able to get outside and air them out. Air the kids out, right? Air them out, get outside, have fun. As always, I'm wishing you love, light, blessings, and have a spirit guided day. Take care, you guys.